Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited to be hanging out with you once again on Tuesday evening. As you know, this is one of my favorite things all week, and I'm excited to get a chance to share Tuesday evening with you once again. Those of you who experienced a little Arctic chill over the weekend. Hopefully you survived okay. It's still pretty cold here in New Jersey as well, but I think we should be getting some warmer weather in the next few days. Shout out to those in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh over Friday night and over the weekend. I had an opportunity to be the keynote speaker at a chamber annual meeting in outside of Pittsburgh, and had a chance to also do a fireside chat while I was there. So we got a few inches of snow and down to a -3 wind chill, but survived and made it back to New Jersey. Also shout out to organization AEO in Washington, D.C. I went down to their conference and hung out with Natalie Cadero-Madera, and she's CEO, and they had a great session for their organizational members as well. So tonight we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics. Anybody who's worked with me knows that their most important job is sales and marketing. And at the end of the day, the better that you market, the easier it is to sell. And that's really what business is all about. There's many tools and strategies for being able to sell and market more effectively. And tonight we're going to talk about one of the key tools that's very powerful for small business owners, not just because it gives you good reach, but many times there's no cost to doing it as well. I'm excited about having our guest here to talk a little bit about, being pitch worthy, leveraging PR without breaking your bank. PR is a great resource for entrepreneurs and business owners, and can't wait to talk to KJ Blattenbauer about this topic that she, really is an expert at. So, KJ, how are you doing this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Definitely, we're not mad at you that it's warm down there in Texas, but we are a little jealous. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely, PR is important. Everybody's probably heard. There's no bad PR, whether you've got PR for good or bad reasons. But that may not always be true, but definitely look forward to kind of discussing really how business owners can use PR as a really powerful tool for helping them move their business forward.
Definitely excited to chat with you tonight. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks. So before we get started, you've done some tremendous things, and you're really contributing to the PR industry and just business in general. So could you take a few minutes and kind of share a little bit about your journey so people can really get a better feel for who you are and what you've done and what you're doing now?
Sure, sure. So my PR career started 28 years ago, but even before that, really, I feel like I was born to do publicity and public relations. I was born in a really small town in North Dakota, more cows than people. And I feel like you learn very early on in a small town, like word travels fast, you got to get ahead of it. So I feel like by my teenage years, I kind of had the spin down. Like if this was going to get back to my parents, here's how I was going to spin the story in my favor, right? I also think that, being a hype girl comes naturally to me. I was an athlete, and when you're on a team, you always want to support your teammates. So by the time I got to college, I knew I wanted to be in publicity. And I didn't even realize that's what it was at the time, but I love telling people's stories. And so right out of college, I started at an international public relations agency. From there, I went large agency, small agency, large agency, started working in corporate America for US Bank Corp, went and did some crisis communications for Dow Chemical. Before coming back to the real world of public relations and the normal day-to-day, I was the director of public relations at Lifetime Fitness for a good chunk of time, and I helped them make the clubs less reactive and more proactive with their pitching and their publicity. Also helped them introduce some of their athletic events before deciding to strike out on my own. I think that small businesses are the backbone of our country, and they have the best stories, whether you're just starting out, whether it's a side hustle for you, a startup at $0 all the way to six figures. You truly are what makes America great, and you have the best stories. You're nimble, you can talk about things, and everyone wants to know what you do. And so I've really made a career out of helping those people tell their stories and get more attention.
Excellent, excellent. So now, I always like to start out with definitions because that helps make sure everybody's on the same page.
Sure.
So how do you define public relations, and what it's all about?
So for me, public relations is literally you telling people what you're excited about, what you're passionate about, and training them in the way to think and speak and talk back to you about what it is you do. You are telling people exactly how they should think about you when you're not in the room and how they should speak about you in the rooms that you're not in. So it really is the telephone game where they get it right. And you want to go through repetition. It's using other people's platforms. Like I'm on your show tonight, graciously thanks to you. And that's helping promote me on a platform that's not mine. Now I could go out and tell people, oh, I'm really good at public relations. And they might listen, they might believe me. But if they see me on your show talking about public relations, they see me tomorrow in Forbes magazine, they see me somewhere else the next day, that's a third-party seal of approval. And that is the joy that public relations brings. It's not just you bragging about what you're good about. It's actually the validity of a third party saying, no, this person knows what they're talking about. This person has a great service. This person has a great product. You should really get behind this person. And so it's public relations in a nutshell. It's training people how to talk about your business or service and then using borrowed real estate of the media to help get that message out there.
All right. So, for many people, that seems easier said than done in many respects. One, many times it can be hard even coming up with your own story. And then also even beyond that, how do you get people to be interested in it and get people to be excited to share it? So why don't we start with what's a story and how do you create a good story around what you're doing?
Well, I think people like to overcomplicate things, right? We like to overthink things. We like to worry. We like to think, oh, there's nothing exciting about what I do. And that could be further from the truth, especially if you're a small business owner. There is a reason why you went into being a small, like having a small business. There's a reason why you went into entrepreneurship, why you created your service, why you created your product. Maybe it's because you couldn't find something you needed, or you saw a gap in the marketplace, or there was something missing in your hometown, or there was a loved one you wanted to help out. That right there is your story, your biggest story, and it's media gold. You don't have to spin it. It doesn't have to be a traumatic TED Talk. It doesn't have to be a GoFundMe tearjerker. It doesn't even have to be sensational. It has to be why you created or why you're doing what you're doing. And that simple simple reason for why you get up every day, your blood, sweat, and tears that you're passionate about, that's your story right there. And that should be the first thing that you tell to any media outlet that wants to listen to you. Another quick way to find stories is the 10 or 12 questions your customers ask you every single day. Whether you have a dry cleaner or a car wash, whether you're a baker, whether you're in public relations like me, your customers are asking you the same 10 to 12 questions morning, noon, and night. Take note of what those are. That is your content. That's what you can be pitching to the media. That's what you should be putting on social media, what you should be, talking to your customers about, speaking about on stages. That's what they want to hear. Those are the things they're dying to know answers to. That's a story. But also there's evergreen stories, right? Mother's Day, Father's Day, summer, it's the holiday season right now. There is something about your business that's so specific to those points in time, and it's the same year round and year round and year round. If you pitch it one December, you can pitch it every December because it's something that's routine. So it's the reason why you created or do what you do. Excellent story. The top 10 or 12 questions your customers ask you, also fantastic stories. And then of course there's the evergreen content that you have.
Okay, excellent. So definitely, coming up with a story, being able to communicate, and everybody has their own unique story. So I really look forward to talking a little bit more in depth about it. But before we go too far, I want to, welcome everybody. And, as you saw in the chat, welcome, invite you to share comments, questions, and anything else with us. And also, of course, if you like what you're hearing, like it, share it, and everything else. But also just want to share a little bit about, we do this show, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, as one of our Brain Trust initiatives of the Small Business Pro University. And I just want to share a short video about what the Small Business Pro University is and does for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And then I'll be back talking small business with KJ Blattenbauer. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded Small Business Pro University to help you break that cycle by empowering you with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead your organization more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've collaborated with organizations like the Small Business Development Center, Rising Tide Capital, Empower the Village, NJMEP, Rutgers University, and SCORE to work one-on-one with over 1,000 business owners and teach tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a naval officer, managing businesses, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation, which has prepared me to accomplish my mission of helping 1 million and 8 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. We employ my proven proprietary Masterpreneur Playbook framework to guide your journey along the Masterpreneur path and facilitate your Masterpreneur evolution to work on your business and scale faster and easier. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include the Small Business Pro Network, 100+ expert-led multimedia courses, intensive training workshops, Spanish language training, Leadership Live at 8:05 live stream and podcast, in-person Power Breakfast events, and advisory coaching, consulting, and training services. Okay, welcome back. I'm here with KJ Blattenbauer, and our topic tonight is being pitch worthy, leveraging PR without breaking the bank. And especially for small business owners, that's critical because, most of the time we have cash flow issues. So we definitely have to manage our spend and make sure we get maximum impact from everything we do. And PR is one way we can do that. So KJ, you had mentioned that you're working on a book specifically for small business owners about PR. Is that right?
I am. I actually have a book coming out. It's called Pitchworthy. It comes out January 13th. It'll be available anywhere books are sold. And it walks you through the basic tenets of public relations step by step. Like, here's what public relations is. Here's how you find your audience. Here's how you make a media list. Here's how you make the media listen. And then it even delves into a little bit of the, okay, if you don't want to put yourself out there, if you're not ready to be seen, kind of a pep talk, but also how you deal with negative Yelp reviews, if the trolls come for you on social media, if maybe you step into a sticky situation and you have to work your way out. But it basically takes the magic out of public relations. It takes away the smoke and the mirrors, and it really makes it easy for you to digest from the lens of a small business owner or an entrepreneur, and how you can make public relations work for you. Because I truly believe everyone has a great story. And yes, all press is not good press, but if you have the right tenets, if you have the right understanding of it, you can make it excel and help your business out for literally $0. It should cost you nothing to be on the local news. It should cost you nothing to be on the national news. And then there's everything in between. And so I just wanted to share that with everyone. And I've taken 28 years of public relations experience, and I've whittled it down into 20 chapters that I think are pretty fantastic.
Excellent. So is this your first book?
It's actually my second book. My first book is How to Be a Media Darling. Also, a quick overview for female entrepreneurs. How do you step in the spotlight? Get over insecurities and learn what public relations is. But Pitchworthy is really that book and then some, because it covers every gamut, every facet of public relation, all the questions I've ever been asked over nearly 3 decades. And it really summarizes it in a 2026 and beyond lens. It takes social media and free tools into account, and you could literally read it in one night and by the next day start a PR plan.
Excellent. So of course we're going to want some of those secrets early tonight if you're open to sharing them. So definitely that's exciting. I've written 4 books now, but it's always a challenge. It took me 5 years to write my first one, and but it's a very satisfying experience. So you sort of laid this out, and the key things that many small business owners need to know. What made you write that, and what I know from a marketing perspective, I find that most marketing training in books is for large businesses. And many times as a small business, you should really be doing the opposite of what the large businesses do if you're going to be successful. Is that hold true for PR, or is that something, or is it more similar? How would you categorize that?
I actually think, I think it's similar yet different. I think the basic tenet is there. All press is good press if you know what your goal is. If you're very clear on what your goal is and you're very clear on who your audience is, basic public relations, whether you're big or small, is going to get you there. If you're unclear on your audience, if you're a little bit unclear on your goal, or you have multiple audiences, multiple goals, I think small businesses need to take advantage of being nimble and small and able to shift gears. And so I think they do things a little bit differently in that fashion from larger organizations. But the root of everything is you built something from scratch, whether it's a brick and mortar business, whether it's online service, whether you're writing and publishing books, or whether you're creating a product to give to people that can change their lives. You put your blood, sweat, and tears, and probably all of your life savings into something. And public relations is really you sharing what you're passionate about, what you created with. It's taking it across the finish line, right? Too often, I think as small business owners, we think, oh, well, I'll make it, or I'll open the doors and everyone will come to me. I'll post a couple times on social media. Everyone will know who I am. Business will skyrocket. customers will be flying in and out of our doors. And that's not the case. And then we get kind of self-conscious and we're worried about putting ourselves out there. And we think, well, I'll just post a few times on social media. And that's not the way to move a business forward. If you don't tell people what you do, what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what you have to offer, they can't find you. You can't find things that are hidden. And I think too often, sometimes marketing, but definitely public relations, people think of it as the last resort for how to promote their business when it should be top of funnel. No one's going to find you if they don't know who you are. And public relations, especially for a small business, so important.
Excellent. Okay, great. So now, you talked a little bit about, PR, maybe you have something over here and they see other places. And, one of the things when I talk to people about sales and selling is you got to have a certain amount of touches before people are likely to buy from you. And, how does PR translate into that? And, what are some strategies around that in terms of getting more visibility and getting people closer to being able to purchase from you?
Sure. Well, I mean, the great thing about PR is that it takes those touches and it amplifies them. So I'm on this show with you tonight. I'm talking about my book. I'm talking about public relations. I'm sharing my key messages. You've been kind enough to drop my LinkedIn and my website for everyone to see. That's multiple touch points across this hour for me. But what's great about this is not only are we live now, this will live on. People can watch it now. They can watch it tomorrow. They can watch it 5 years from now. That's multiple touch points from one moment in time of me doing public relations. It also speeds up the process. So if I'm on your show now and I want people to know about my services or my book coming out and I'm on another show tomorrow, that's already 2 touch points. Where if I hadn't been doing public relations and I was only using my own social media channel, that would have been just 1 touch point. So instead of just me posting about stuff, by appearing on this show with you, by doing another podcast tomorrow, by being on my local television station, by using PR in that fashion, I'm helping create those 7, those 8, those 18 touches that help close the gap before that sale can get made. I'm helping warm up cold audiences and being introduced to new audiences just because I'm borrowing media's real estate like this live broadcast. To share my message. And I don't think that people realize how quickly you can close sales faster when people know you, they trust you, they've seen your face, but they've also seen you next to people they know, like, and trust. And so just by appearing in this room with you, your audience is like, oh, okay, well, if she's cool with Andrew, then she can be cool with us. And so I think that those touches make a huge difference. And that's why I love public relations so much for small businesses.
Okay, excellent. So, we talked about, affirmative PR, sort of like this, but also there's defensive PR. So sometimes things work out well, and some things they may be issues. What are some examples of some defensive uses of PR?
Well, I think it's correcting messages, right? You're nobody till someone comes for your small business, right? You haven't succeeded until you've found your first social media troll, your first negative Yelp review, maybe your first letter to the editor in the local paper, something of that nature. It can make a small business owner spiral out of control, right? You want everyone to love you. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into something. Why would someone do that to your baby business? And I think part of it is first you have to decide, take a step back. Is this an ego thing? Is this truly something that matters? Like, too often you can see some small business owners spiral out and respond negatively to a negative Yelp review. And then you see it spiral out of control. And the next thing you know, we're all laughing at it on like the late night TV shows. But that's someone's livelihood. It truly is not funny when you take yourself out of that. And I think it's just being aware of, okay, I got a negative Yelp review. 1, is it true? If it is, then maybe we need to address something that's going on in like our kitchen, for instance, or our front of house or customer service, something of that nature. The second thing to think of is if it's not true, like, who is this person and why would they do that? Then it's also, I'm from the Midwest, right? So to me, everything is worthy of a response, right? Like my guilt, I can't not respond to people. But when you're dealing with online trolls or you're dealing with negative reviews, from a PR lens, not everything is worth a response. Sometimes it's good not to give negative energy any air and just let it go away. In this day and age, with social media, with people hiding behind keyboards, everybody likes to act real tough, and they'll say things online that they'd never say to your face, but it doesn't mean you need to get into an argument with those people. So from a negative standpoint, if things are kind of going out of control with PR, one, you have to assess the situation. Is this true? And the next tenet is this true, and do I need to address it? And the third thing is, how am I going to address it? And truly, it's with sincerity. Like, can't believe that you had this experience. If you need to apologize sincerely, because that's usually what most people want to hear. Like, I'm sorry you had a bad experience, if they had a bad experience. And then tell them how you're going to make it up to them. It's truly that easy to get out of a sticky situation. You either address it or you don't address it. And if you address it, it's sincerely, or you might as well have not addressed it at all. And so it's knowing to take a step back without getting offended.
Okay. And that takes a measure of patience. One of my mentors used to say you have to pray for patience. But definitely how you respond is key. I'm sure you're familiar with one of the horrible PR examples was they teach is well, I guess I'm old, but 3 Mile Island, when they had the reactor blow up, and they did a horrible job of public relations because they were sort of caught off guard and unprepared.
Right. Or, I mean, you see it right now with Cracker Barrel, right? Like, they're not a small business. At one point they were, now they're bigger. They went and they changed their logo. And then while people were distracted with that, they changed all of their recipes. And so now people don't even really care about the logo because a restaurant's made in the kitchen, right? Now you're changing the recipes so much that people are bringing in their own syrup because they hate your syrup so bad. And that's not if you're a brand that is consistency and like home cooking and good recipes and food, and you know that every time you get off the highway, it's going to taste the same. You can't change the recipes without telling your people. And they just keep making it worse when really they just need to take a step back, say, hey, we're sorry that we changed what you love. Work with us. Help us figure it out, customer. Help us make it taste the way it used to taste, and invite the customers back in. They could fix it in 2 seconds. And every week I just watch Cracker Barrel step further and further in it.
Yep. No, definitely. And even Coca-Cola, when they brought the new Coke that nobody liked. But they turned that situation into actually a very positive situation when they switched back.
Right.
So, no matter how dark it seems, you can reverse it.
Everything is fixable. Every single thing is fixable, because the one thing that we like as Americans is a comeback. If something goes out of control, if you are in the wrong, if you have a situation you feel like you can't get out of, no, everyone hits rock bottom, and America loves a bounce back. If you are sincere and you do the work and you show people and include your customers and your audience in the rebuild of what you're doing and bring them along for your rise from the ashes, everything is fixable. Everything.
Excellent. So I'm going to take a quick commercial break just to share a little something that we do on a weekly basis that is a little bit like PR related. And those of you who are on our mailing lists, I'm sure you're used to receiving it. But if you're not on our mailing list, you probably want to get on our mailing list to check out the POW. Here's a little bit about what the POW is. Will 2025 be your best year ever? My mission is helping 1,000,008 business owners to sell more, maximize profit, and finance growth by 2028. My vision is to create the ultimate business ecosystem for entrepreneurs. Hi, Andrew here with the plan of the week. As everybody knows, failing to plan is planning to fail. And that's why I created the POW. Incorporating the POW into your weekly routine will help you achieve success faster and easier. Each week, we have a different theme in addition to valuable tips from last week's live stream guest expert, online and in-person events that you don't want to miss, the profile of our member of the week, which could be you, and find out about opportunities for grants, contracts, and other resources. Last but not least, test drive our free mini course of the week on Small Business Pro University. Scroll down through the pile for business tips, opportunities, and more event details. I look forward to helping you make 2025 your best year ever. And always remember, the more that you know, the faster your business will grow. All right, welcome back. I'm talking small business with KJ Blattenbauer. KJ, one thing that has evolved throughout your career in PR is like the internet and social media.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about how that's changed the landscape and, and just PR in general.
Sure. Well, when I started in public relations, computers were very rare. We were still looking things up in phone books. Reporters, we were using fax machines, and that was advanced technology. Like, the internet was still new, social media didn't exist. And so for me, I feel like it's been learning by fire as technology grows and grows. With the dawn of social media, it's wonderful because you can discover new restaurants, new artists, new musicians, so many cool, interesting accounts to follow, whether they're local to you or whether they're across the world. And social media is great for that. Social media also is not great in that it helps bring out negativity. It can help make people self-conscious. It makes it very easy to pile on if something happens without knowing both sides of the story. And I think it's important to think about the good parts of social media, right? Like, the negativity will always be there, but the good parts of social media, I think, is that the platforms can be used to influence your PR efforts. If you are pitching or promoting something, if you are using a marketing strategy, make sure that your PR, your marketing, your social media, they're all in tune. The first thing I have all of my clients do is make sure their house is in order. And for me, that means what's on your website, what's in your speaker bio, what's on your LinkedIn page, what's on your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube. Make sure that it's all the same definition of you. Your about section should read the same no matter what platform people end up on. And you should also be using the same logo, obviously, the same graphics, and make sure that your links are clicking to the right places and that they all carry the same message. The quickest way for a small business owner to lose any sort of credibility is if someone Googles you and they find one thing one place, another story somewhere else. If they're playing around on your social media and you're talking about a sale in July when it's November 27th. And so you want to make sure that your house is in order. So before I do any promoting for my clients, I make sure their social media is on point. There's nothing that might be offensive or misconstrued or isn't on brand for them, but also that their links are working and that every way that they talk about themselves, they're properly representing their business, but they're consistently representing your business. Because we talked about it earlier, the touches that you need to take to sell something. Every single one of your channels is a touch. And if someone's going to Google you, because that's how we vet how people are, if a business is legit, if a business is still open, what a business offers. The first thing we do is we go to Google, and everything that pulls up, that's a touch for you to help promote your business and to get your services out there and to get people interested in working with you.
Okay, so social media does give you the ability to get in front of people a lot more. So now, you've got social media, but now we've got AI. So it seems like it could be a great tool, but doesn't necessarily end up being a great tool for many people.
Right.
What are your thoughts on AI and how does that change things?
Well, I think AI changes everything, and at the same time, it changes nothing. So for me, I think AI is an amazing tool to help you do research, like what are the top 10 questions people have about public relations? And then I would know what I should be pitching to editors. But it can also be like, who are the local media outlets I should be promoting my restaurant to? Or where do I find moms that are interested in X, Y, and Z, if that's my target market? I think AI is fabulous for quick, fast, deep research to help you form opinions, but pitch and promote to your people, help you write things and help you explore things. What I think AI isn't great at, and why I think it's not ever going to replace marketers, advertisers, copywriters, or myself, is that AI takes the human aspect out of things. every single thing that comes out of AI sounds exactly like it came out of AI. It sounds like the same person wrote it, whether I put prompts in there, whether you put prompts in there. It's literally written by a robot. It's an algorithm. It's not human. And I feel like as we move into 2026 and beyond, our communities are craving interaction. We're post-COVID. We want to get out and do more things. We want to be around people again. We want to feel community and closeness. And AI can't give us that. But the storytelling that people do, the way that they promote their story, why they got into business, all that, that human aspect, I think it's going to remain. So AI, great for research, great for helping your business excel, not what you want to be using to write every single thing for you.
Okay. Great. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I've used AI more and more within my business, but you do have to be careful to make sure you keep the authenticity of what you're doing, and really, you want to differentiate yourself, and AI does make it real easy for you to sound the same as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really hard for people to make a choice for you if you sound the same way as everybody else. So yeah, so definitely, think that makes sense. But what I love about AI is it gives small businesses the upper hand versus large businesses. It's a great tool to really be a more impactful business despite your size, if you use it right.
Right. It can help you do any sort of research you want to. It can help you pull up customer orders. It can help you find issues. It can be the staff of 10 if you would like it to, and if you're using it in the right way. And I think sadly, so many don't know how to use it the right way, and they're just like, hey, rewrite this email, or hey, write my social media post. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice, but also the glory of the technology that is AI, if that's the only thing that you're using it for your small business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, so definitely. So now you've worked with all kinds of businesses, but can you tell us a little bit about an example of a client you work with that PR really just transformed the success of their business?
Sure. I worked with an interior design firm in Missouri, so a flyover state. And I think that they, if you're in interior design and you're not in one of the huge places like LA or New York, if you're not East Coast or West Coast, if you're somewhere in the Midwest, you're very often overlooked by the design publications, because who has taste if you're not on the East Coast or the West Coast, right? And I'm not here to argue that with anyone, but I know that my client, amazing at what she does. Kitchens that are made out of marble, and we're talking like $250,000 worth of marble. Like, these kitchens are works of art, so much so that I probably would never want to cook in them, but they're beautiful and they're so immaculate and just breathtaking, like the best pictures you will ever see. She had tried in vain to even get in her local publications, and they just weren't paying attention to her, weren't paying attention to her story. And so we sat down together and I'm like, tell me what your story is. And she's like, oh, well, I just do this, or I just use marble, and it was just finding a better way to position that. Within our first week of working together, we had her in all the local media. Within our first month of working together, she had national publications knocking down her door. And by our second month working together, she had a 12-month wait list, and she'd pretty much tripled her income. Now that we've been together for a few years, her staff has grown 4 times what it was. She has an extensive wait list all over the world of people who want to work with her. And it's changed her business just by doing a few media interviews a year, making sure her projects get seen by the right people, but just telling her story in the way that it's meant to be told. There are so many hidden gems in your backyard that you don't know about, restaurant wise or business wise. And I think that's why it's important for local media, but also, regional and national media, for you to get out and pitch and put your story there.
Well, that's a great example of being able to put yourself on the map. Many times, I guess, to get recognized, you have to have the right story, the right pitch. What are publications or other PR outlets, what are some good approaches to get them interested in what you're talking about?
Well, I think it's just being helpful, right? Like your local media, they need stories to cover. They want to cover small businesses. They want to know community events that are going on. They want to know about, have you been in business for a milestone number of years? If you're celebrating some sort of special event like Women's History Month, or the holiday season, if you have special things for kids or families, or you're fundraising for charities, all of those things, great reasons to reach out to your local television station. I also think that awards are a great way to put yourself on a map. Every local organization has some sort of awards to celebrate business, to celebrate business owners, to celebrate people that give back. Throw your hat into that ring. You might not win, but even if you don't, you're nominated. You're putting your name, your face, your voice out there for more people to see. And I think it's just putting yourself out there and being a little bit vulnerable will make a huge difference. I also think that the greatest thing you can do as a small business owner is partner with other small business owners, right? Alone, you're just one voice. But if you put on a whole block party with your neighbors along Main Street, that's newsworthy. That brings the news stations out. Yes, you won't get all the media attention for yourself, but you're going to get it for you and your neighbor. And if your neighbor brings more traffic to their business, that's more traffic going by your door too. So everybody wins. And I think it's just, too often people think they have to think large, huge, a PR gimmick, some big stunt, something that costs a lot of money. It really is simple. Here's what we're doing today. Come in. You need something to cover? Here's a helpful story. Or, look, reporter, I saw you struggling the other day. Let us help you. Something just as simple as that. And honestly, if I had a local bakery or a local business, I would probably be reaching out to the morning news crew and being like, hey, can we bring you breakfast? Hey, can we bring you lunch? You've been working really long hours. Why don't we bring a food spread over to you? They might not feature you on air. They might not say anything about you on air, but they know your restaurant exists now. You just fed them. And if the food was good, if the presentation was great, you better betcha that the next time they have something, a food segment or something that ties into you, they're going to remember you and reward you with some coverage.
All right. So, definitely about building relationships. And, I really like the partnership part, because you can really, in business, relationships and partnerships can be so valuable, and they make much greater impact on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the perspective you shared, that the reporter's job is to write articles.
Yeah.
So if you can add value and help them find a good article or a good story, you're making their life easier and better. You're solving their problems. So,
right.
And
it might not even be, like, I have a public relations agency. I represent a variety of clients. There will be reporters looking for things that have nothing to do with my clients all the time. And I'm going to be the first person to raise my hand and be like, oh, you're searching for the best yoga pants? 0 clients in athleisure. I really like these. I've worked in health and fitness for decades. These are the best ones. Make sure you put those in your roundup. That reporter is going to remember how helpful you are. And so the next time I have a client that I want in that publication, I can be like, hey, I don't have to say, hey, remember that time I helped you out with yoga pants? I just have to be like, hey, we interacted a few months ago. Just wanted to say, I have this. I think it'll be of interest to you. They're going to remember you for being helpful, and it doesn't hurt you to be helpful.
Yes, definitely. And I work with people on financing, and it for a lot of small business owners, it's difficult to get financing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like the banks don't want to finance you, because their job is to finance you so they can make money. But you just have to become financeable. So you have to put yourself and position yourself to be worthy of financing, and the same, with PR. You gotta so it's important to keep that in mind as well. It's not like they don't want you. It's just you gotta provide the solution in a way that they can utilize it.
Right. And it's not rocket science. It's literally who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why it matters to the media outlet or the media outlet's audience. It's really that simple. Like, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's why it matters right now, and here's why your audience cares. It is that simple of a plan to put things in front of the media. It doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't have to be you don't have to cure cancer. You can literally be like, this is the best hot dog in Philadelphia. You need to come check it out.
Okay. Excellent. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be complex. I think that one resource that I've used, and you probably, I'm sure you're familiar with, is HARO, which I think is help a reporter out.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and your thoughts on that for small business?
I can. I think it's a wonderful tool. It recently got sold, bought by private equity, got changed into something different than what we don't love and like. And so for small businesses, I'd actually steer them towards, it's called SOS now, and it's called Sources of Sources. I believe it's sourcesofsources.com, but it's the same mantra. You put in your information, you put in your area of expertise, and then up to three times a day, they literally email you, here's all the reporters on deadline by industry, here's what they're looking for specifically. All you have to do is respond with your bio, your contact information, your answer to their very specific question by their deadline. And you could appear anywhere from Martha Stewart to Forbes to your local TV station to popular blogs. I had a client write in for one, and they were just in New York Magazine yesterday. And so it's the easiest, most simple, free way to get your name out there. And yeah, there'll be weeks maybe where they're not covering something that's of your industry, but you will very quickly find something that you can submit to, especially around gift guide time. If you have a product and service, always a need for food and always a need for experts, especially in finance or technology or human resources. But Sources of Sources has far outpaced Haro, and I can't urge people enough to do Sources of Sources and Founder. Founder's another one where you can just submit a quote and you'll see it all over online the next day. But it's an easy way to get PR for free.
All right, so I'm gonna have to check those out myself. But no, that's great. Great news, and important to have resources. So hour goes really fast. You can see, but we still got a little bit of time. So now, one of the things, if I'm doing no PR now, and but I'd like to, what's the first thing I should do?
You should get your house in order. The first thing that you should do is make sure that the way you think, talk, and speak about your business is the same across every single platform. Because you want to imagine that tomorrow, every single media outlet's going to be looking at you, and you want everything external facing to be the exact same and positioned the way you want it. You also want to make sure that your products or your service, your business is in order. If you had 15 new customers tomorrow, could your business handle it? If you had 30,000 new customers tomorrow, could your business handle it? Do you have enough products? Do you have enough people? That sort of thing. So get your house in order, make sure your operations are in order. Because the worst thing that you could ever do is not have that house in order when people start looking for you, but also to get great press. Like, say you're featured in your local newspaper and people want to call, they want to order, they want to do whatever. And the thing you just talked about, you only had 2 in stock and now you have 0, and people are angry because they can't get it and you've missed your opportunity and you can't order more. And that just kind of snowballs into bad public relations. You want to make sure that you have enough of what you're promoting and doing, and you're ready to handle any sort of media attention. You also want to make sure that you're ready to do the media attention. It's one thing to say, okay, I need press, I need to promote my business. It's another thing to get in front of the camera and be able to talk and not freeze and be on messaging. So make sure your house is in order, foundation's good. Make sure your operations are good, you can handle an influx of customers, or you're ready to go, your people are prepared. And then make sure that you're ready. Like, put yourself out there, promote it, do that sort of thing. The next thing I would do is, what are the questions your customers are asking you? Those are the things you're going to want to pitch and promote. So fire up Google, put in the questions your people are asking you, and where it says images, all, shopping, there's going to be a news tab. And that news tab, once you click on it after you've done your search, it's going to show you exactly who's writing and talking about your business. You can start building a media list there, or you can start really local just by Googling your town, your city, and media sources. And that's how you're going to start finding and building a media list. Once your house is in order, operations are in order, you're ready to be in front of the camera or behind the camera or answer questions, start building your media list, know your pitches, and then just start reaching out. You don't have to reach out to 50 people right away. Reach out to your local newspaper, reach out to your local TV station, reach out to a regional publication. If you are an expert in something that extends outside of the city limits, reach out to a bigger publication. If you're in business and finance, reach out to those sorts of outlets, whether it's digital, whether it's print, and start sharing your expertise there. You are never going to know until you try, but make sure first all your messaging is in order.
All right. So, yeah, messaging is important across the board, but, a lot of times you say things should be the same. What is the same? How same should they be?
Literally what I use for phrasing on my website is copy and pasted in my bio on my Instagram. It's copied and pasted in my about section on my LinkedIn. There is nowhere online where you go to search for KJ Blattenbauer where you're not going to hear has nearly 30 years of experience being a powerhouse publicist, pitch-worthy coming out in January. Everything's going to be the same consistently there. And that's how it should be for everyone. I want everyone to know that, oh, it's KJ Blattenbauer. I want to be so sick of hearing my own bio that I can't take it anymore, because that means that those touches we talked about earlier, it's working. The repetition, it's starting to catch on. So every time anyone hears about anything I'm doing, they're hearing about the book, they're hearing about my experience. It builds a validation. And so you want that consistency.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, no, definitely. And, I try and be as consistent as possible. But one thing I always do is use the same or very similar picture so that, people immediately notice it and recognize it's me. So this picture here, that's my $1 million picture, and we'll put it on everything. So because it doesn't really count as a touch if they don't identify what you have with you and with the other touches they've had. So
right. Yeah, so, you need to make it sure that it's consistent.
Excellent. So trying to think what else would be good to cover now. Well, we're actually kind of at the end. So let me ask you this. We had a show, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but, most people can only remember 3 things.
Right.
So, it would be great if you could leave us with, 3 key takeaways that people can take away from what we talked about today, and then start utilizing to, incorporate PR into their business and going forward. So if you could, give a little thought to that, and I'll give you a minute to pull that together, and then we'll come back. I'll show a short video about, one of the things that we're doing for business owners that's really critical, especially this time of year, and that's bookkeeping.
You risk cash flow, tax, and profitability issues without timely, accurate financial records. Unfortunately, most business owners are not happy with their current bookkeeping situation.
Actually, our bookkeeper kind of left us. He actually got a job.
Many struggle with it themselves or have trouble finding the right help at a reasonable price. Even if you have a bookkeeper, there are often inaccuracies that can cost you money due to their lack of accounting knowledge and experience.
We had a lot of missing holes in our reporting. Things was a little hard to keep track of.
Fortunately, it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I incorporated small business-friendly bookkeeping into our service offerings.
Working with Andrew and Small Business Pro University was a very easy process. They really understood our numbers and our data very quickly and what needed to happen.
We meet you where you are Whether you want to switch to save money or need us to clean up past issues.
Since working with you, we've definitely been able to catch up on a lot of those missing holes and fill those gaps. So from a business standpoint, I'm able to understand my numbers a lot better.
Bringing everything current for tax and compliance purposes.
Along came Andrew Frazier. In a short period of time, they got us up to date. And now we're fine, and they're handling our bookkeeping.
Use the link below to schedule a complimentary discovery session to explore how we can help. www.sbprou.com/discovery. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose by scheduling a complimentary discovery session to explore how we can help at www.sbprou.com/discovery.
All right, welcome back. I'm here with KJ Blattenbauer, and we've been talking small business. Tonight, we've been talking about how to leverage PR and, basically without breaking the bank for small business owners. So, KJ, you've shared some valuable insights, and just if you could, just wrap us up with 3 key things that we should all make sure we take away with us tonight.
Sure. The 3 things I hope you take away from tonight and our time together is get your house in order. Make sure everywhere that you talk about your business, your product, your service, everything, your expertise, it's the same across every single channel. It's going to take you maybe an hour at most for 1 week. And then set yourself a reminder. Once a quarter, make sure you do the same exercise. Make sure everything is the same across the channels. Your links, your bio, your images. Make it so people know who you are. You're very recognizable, but also when they Google you, everything looks the same. The second thing is get clear on your story and your messaging. There's a reason why you went into business, why you created what you create, why you do the service that you perform for people and the services that you offer. That is your story. That is your why. And that is why people are going to connect with you and want to work with you. Make sure you share that with the media. Make sure you share that everywhere, podcasts, online, social media, and with our media friends. And the third thing is to take advantage of free resources like sourcesofsources.com and founder.com. They are great for just submitting your quote and getting you instant public relations.
Excellent. Okay, so 3 key things. Like you said, getting your house in order. This is a perfect time of year. At this time, I always sit back and reevaluate. What happened this year and kind of where we want next year to go, and update your messaging for the beginning of the year. So definitely getting that in order and preparing for the beginning of the year to really have a strong start to 2026. Still can't even believe 2026.
It's here.
It's here. Getting clarity on your story and your messaging. That's like an ongoing process. As your business grows, as you do things, it evolves. As you think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. Your messaging may evolve. So continuing to look for greater clarity, looking at feedback on what you're saying and your messages is key. And then, of course, as a small business owner, taking advantage of free resources and ways to, communicate and market and sell more effectively. PR gives you some tools to really be able to do that in a powerful way. So this has been excellent, KJ.
Thank you.
Definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us tonight. And before we close out, anything you want to share?
I would just like to remind everyone that my book Pitchworthy comes out January 13th, and I would love if they grab a copy. I know that it will help their small business out.
Okay, excellent. So we can do that, and just once it comes out, get us the links as well. In the chat, we've got KJ's LinkedIn profile, so feel free to reach out to her on LinkedIn. Of course, it's hard to find you as KJ on LinkedIn because you have your full name.
Yep. I'm a Karen Jane, so it's not really fun to be a Karen. I prefer the initials, but LinkedIn makes you go full. It makes you go full name. But yep, well, Karen Jane Blattenbauer on LinkedIn.
Okay, all right, and then also the website. So definitely, you're welcome to reach out to KJ as well, and appreciate you sharing your expertise. If you can, hang on for a minute, and let me just close things out.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, KJ. Okay, all right. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks again for tuning in. We're coming up on the holidays. This is really the last full work week of the year. So hopefully you're keeping busy. I know I'm plenty trying to tie up loose ends and finish off the year strong. So definitely hope you're doing that. Appreciate people tuning in. Also, I know we have a lot of people who check us out after the fact. So definitely look forward to your comments and likes and shares as we go forward. So once again, great show with KJ this evening. Looking forward to next week as well. So next week, our topic is going to be transformational theory, how to win in tomorrow's market space. So looking forward to that. Every year things speed up. Change is at a greater rate. But it's important to prepare for that as much as you can and look at what you can do to win. So I'm looking forward to talking to Jeffrey Mung, and we're going to have a great chat. He created transformational theory, and it's a way to prepare yourself to be ready for changes and things that come in the future. So it's perfect time because we're coming up on the new year, and these are additional things that you can put into your strategies and plans for 2026. So appreciate everybody joining us, and always remember, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.com.
Okay.